People don't fail because they lack knowledge. Most of the time, they already know what they should do. They've read the books, listened to the podcasts, watched the lectures. They know the strategies, the habits, the mindset shifts, and yet they stay stuck. Why? Because learning is safe. It feels productive. It gives you the illusion of progress. Doing, on the other hand, is risky. It requires courage. It requires exposing yourself to failure, embarrassment, and uncertainty. This is the fatal flaw of modern learning, the deadly gap between knowing and doing. In this video, you're going to discover why so many overeducated, well-informed people remain directionless. You'll learn how the intellectual yet idiot trap keeps brilliant minds paralyzed. You'll see why context matters more than principles, and most importantly, you'll discover how to move from theory to action, to finally bridge the gap between what you know and what you live. Before we dive in, take a moment to ask yourself, what did I learn last month that actually changed my life? If that question hits you, consider subscribing. This channel is dedicated to turning knowledge into action, and this video will change the way you think about learning forever. Part 1. The Knowledge Trap. Why Learning Feels Like Progress. We live in an era of unprecedented access to knowledge. Books, podcasts, YouTube videos, online courses, wisdom is everywhere. You can learn in a week what used to take a lifetime to discover. Knowledge has never been so cheap, so abundant, so instantly available. And yet, paradoxically, most people are more informed than ever and less capable than ever. Why? Because knowledge alone is seductive. It feels like progress. It creates a rush of accomplishment without any risk. You can read another book, watch another lecture, and feel as though you're moving forward while your life remains exactly the same. Think about it for a second. How many times have you learned a concept, memorized the technique, or mastered a strategy, and then did absolutely nothing with it? You might have felt enlightened, motivated, inspired, but that inspiration fades if it isn't acted on. Knowledge without action is like fuel that never reaches the engine. It looks promising, but it goes nowhere. Naval Ravikant captures this perfectly. Acquiring knowledge is easy. Applying it is hard. It's a brutal truth because it flips the narrative we've been taught our entire lives. Hard work, learning, effort, we've been told that these are the keys to success. And they are, but only if paired with action. Otherwise, they are empty. Motion without momentum. Hours without impact. Energy wasted. Here's the real danger. Learning can become a form of procrastination. You convince yourself that preparing, reading, and researching is enough. You tell yourself, I'll start once I know more, once I'm ready. But that ready moment rarely comes. And in the meantime, life moves on, opportunities vanish, confidence decays, momentum dies. Exercise number 1. The Knowledge Audit. Grab a pen and list 5 things you learned this past week. Now, circle the one thing you actually applied. The rest, motion, not momentum. Most of what we consume stays in the mind, never touching reality. If this hits close to home, hit the like button. Even small engagement helps more people wake up to this harsh truth. Now, imagine 2 versions of yourself. The first version spends their life consuming, planning, reading, analyzing, but rarely acting. They are the perpetual student, brilliant in theory, paralyzed in practice. The second version takes imperfect action. They fail, they make mistakes, they stumble, yes, but with each misstep, they learn faster, adapt quicker, and actually create results. Which version do you want to be? Which version are you letting sit dormant right now while knowledge piles up around you like unread books in a library that will never change your life? Knowledge without doing is the silent trap that keeps most people stuck in the same year over and over. It's the fatal flaw in modern learning, and recognizing it is the first step toward breaking free. Part 2. The IYI Trap. Why Brilliance Can Be Paralyzing. There's a trap that's rarely talked about, yet it silently destroys potential. The intellectual yet idiot, or IYI, as Nassim Taleb calls it. These are people who are brilliant on paper. They can debate any topic, explain any principle, and understand complex systems better than most. They're highly educated, deeply informed, and respected for their intellect. And yet, when it comes to the real world, they struggle. They fail to act. They misapply knowledge. They achieve less than those with far less formal understanding. Why? Because brilliance alone is not enough. Knowledge, when divorced from action, is a cage. It creates analysis paralysis, second-guessing, and an endless cycle of preparation. It turns intelligence into inertia. Modern examples are everywhere. A software engineer who knows every programming language and framework but never ships a single project. An aspiring entrepreneur who reads 50 business books and listens to 100 podcasts but never launches their first product. A fitness enthusiast who knows the science of training perfectly yet never commits to a daily workout routine. Historical examples are just as striking. There were generals who could lecture on strategy with unmatched clarity, yet lost every battle they commanded. Philosophers who could dissect the meaning of courage, but crumbled when faced with real-life adversity. Scholars who charted the heavens, but never stepped outside the library to test their theories. Being an IYI feels safe. It feels like mastery. It allows you to bask in the glow of intelligence without facing the risk of action. But it is a deadly illusion, a slow-acting poison that keeps brilliant minds trapped in theory while the world moves forward without them. Exercise number 2. Identify your IYI moment. Take a moment. Write down one area of your life where you are highly knowledgeable but have been taking no real action. What is keeping you paralyzed? Fear? Comfort? Perfectionism? Write it down. Naming it is the first step to breaking free. Now, imagine the life you could have if you acted, even imperfectly, on just one piece of knowledge. Momentum would start to build. Failures would teach faster than books ever could. Progress would compound. Every small action would turn your intellectual potential into real-world impact. This is the stark difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is what you know. Wisdom is what you do with what you know. And most overeducated people, trapped in the IYI cycle, mistake knowledge for wisdom. They confuse thinking with living. They confuse preparation with achievement. And the world quietly passes them by. If this resonates, take a bold step. Comment below with one area you have been knowing but not doing. Just this small act of acknowledgement will start to shift your life. It's accountability in its simplest form, and it works. Part 3. Why context beats principles every time. Here's a harsh truth that most people overlook. Principles alone don't guarantee results. Principles are seductive. They are neat. They are universal truths distilled from experience. They promise order in a chaotic world. You read them, memorize them, and believe that if you follow them, success will automatically follow. But the world doesn't work that way. Principles are maps, not territories. They guide, but they cannot replace judgment. They cannot substitute for experience, and they certainly cannot act for you. Naval Ravikant captures this beautifully. Books are compressed experience, but you still need your own. No matter how many principles you learn, from stoicism, productivity, entrepreneurship, or self-mastery, they are only as powerful as the context in which you apply them. Think of it this way. Learning negotiation tactics will not close deals if you never actually negotiate. Studying entrepreneurship will not launch a business unless you start building, testing, and iterating. Context is messy, it's unpredictable, it's personal, and yet it is where all real learning happens. It is the arena where knowledge meets life. Example: startups. Hundreds of perfectly planned businesses fail because the market behaves unpredictably. Principles without context are like swords without hands. Understanding context is what separates those who succeed from those who endlessly know without achieving. You can memorize every rule in the world, but if you never step into your own unique situation and take imperfect action, all that knowledge becomes a burden rather than a tool. Exercise number 3, context check. Identify one principle or strategy you are currently following. Ask yourself, does it actually fit my current situation? If not, tweak it, adapt it, or act on it anyway and learn from the real-world feedback of your own life. Here's the brutal reality. Most people hide behind principles because action is uncomfortable. They tell themselves, I'll do it when I understand more, when I'm ready, when the timing is perfect. But the timing will never be perfect. Life will always be messy. Action must come first, or knowledge is wasted. Now, imagine the difference if you applied just one principle in your own context, not perfectly, not safely, but in reality, with real-world constraints. You would start to see tangible results. You would begin to turn potential into momentum, and slowly, the gap between knowledge and wisdom would start to close. If this part resonates, share the video with someone who is stuck endlessly preparing instead of living. Action compounds, momentum compounds. The sooner you start, the sooner your life starts moving. Part 4. From concepts to lived experience, the transformation gap. You've learned, you've studied, you've understood principles, strategies, and ideas. You've identified motion versus momentum. You've recognized the IYI trap. You know context matters. And yet, most people stop there. This is the fatal gap, the chasm between knowing and living, between theory and practice, between potential and reality, between the life you imagine and the life you actually experience. It's easy to feel smart, to feel prepared, to feel like you're progressing when all you're doing is consuming knowledge. But the truth is brutal. Knowledge is worthless until it is acted upon. The transformation gap exists because action is uncertain, uncomfortable, and imperfect. Doing exposes you to failure, embarrassment, and mistakes. Doing forces you to confront the world as it is, messy, unpredictable, and often cruel. Doing makes you vulnerable. Most people choose the illusion of safety. They choose reading over doing, preparation over execution, theory over messy reality. And so they remain stuck, brilliant in thought, but powerless in life. Here's how to cross the gap. Start small, act immediately. Even a single imperfect action bridges the gap between learning and living. Don't wait for clarity or perfect conditions. Action is the teacher, not knowledge alone. Reflect deeply. Action without reflection is blind. Review what worked, what failed, and why. This is where knowledge becomes wisdom. Experience transforms raw information into intuition, skill, and judgment. Iterate relentlessly. Mistakes are inevitable. Failures are unavoidable. But each step, each stumble, each lesson compounds. Momentum grows only through repeated, deliberate action. Not just studied wealth, leverage, and decision-making. He experimented. He invested, he created, he built, he failed, and he learned faster than anyone who only consumed theory ever could. Historical parallel: Leonardo da Vinci. He didn't just study anatomy, he dissected corpses. He didn't just sketch machines, he built them. Knowledge alone wasn't enough. He turned every concept into lived experience. Exercise number 4. Action audit. Look at one thing you've learned in the past month. Now ask yourself, have I applied it? If the answer is no, commit to doing something tangible today, no matter how small. Even the tiniest step starts the chain reaction toward mastery. The ultimate lesson is simple, yet devastatingly overlooked. Wisdom is only wisdom when it is lived. Every principle, every strategy, every insight is useless until it touches reality, until it changes your day, your habits, your decisions, until it reshapes who you are. If this hits you, if you feel the weight of knowing without doing, comment below. Tell us what you will act on today. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be monumental. It just has to exist. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates transformation. And if you want to stay on this path from knowing to doing, from theory to reality, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and make a commitment to yourself. Stop learning without living. Start doing without delay. Conclusion: you already know enough. Now build the life. Let's recap. Knowledge alone doesn't change anything. Overeducation can trap you in motion without momentum. Principles are useless without context. Real learning comes from doing. Courage and action, not more information, create transformation. The fatal flaw of modern learning is clear. Knowing without doing is the surest path to stagnation. So ask yourself one last question. What will I stop learning today and start doing instead? Because the moment you take action, momentum begins. The moment momentum begins, transformation is inevitable. You don't need more knowledge. You need courage. You need action. And you need to start now. If this video helped you see things differently, subscribe, like, comment your action, and share so someone else finally wakes up to the same truth. And if you want to go deeper, click the video on your screen next. It's all about turning small actions into life-changing leverage. Thank you for watching, and welcome to the life only action can build.